Hey, what's up guys? Carson Arnett here, back from a short break. Life happens, and that's all I gotta say about that. The topic of today's video has a little bit to do with why I pump the brakes on the channel a little bit. So today I wanted to talk about niching and why I don't think it's a good idea. So to clarify what I mean by niching your content, I'm talking about people that make specific content for specific audiences. So you know how people have platforms on all forms of social media, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok even, that covers a specific thing like cooking, finance, social media, plants, photography, videography, books. Did I say that already? I don't think I did. But you get my point. People make specific content for specific audiences. Oh. Okay. Hopefully that makes the lighting a little better. I think it does. I think we're good. Okay, so some of you that have experimented with niching your content may have experienced some sort of burnout or boredom at a certain point. Unless you're just extremely passionate about something, I don't recommend niching because you will get burned out and you will get bored. And it takes a really special type of person with a special type of topic that I think it's really an exception to go all in on something for a long term and still enjoy it. Now with the coronavirus and everything going on right now, it's actually a perfect example of why niching puts you at the will of external circumstances. Say for example, I was an Instagram account that reviewed public transportation. Right now, I wouldn't be doing so hot. Now I could try to pivot into other things to fill my feed for my audience, but they're not going to reciprocate it that well. So in some cases, if you niche, you are putting faith into things you can't control to give you the ability to make your content. And the reason your audience doesn't reciprocate that new content as well is because, say, you've been doing public transportation reviews on Instagram for 2 to 3 years and you've built an audience around that. And so what you've done is you've created this box of expectations, and over the years you put things in there. You've taken the time to close it up, and I can't close this box. You've taken the time to close it up, and now this is what your audience expects. So in turn, that creates a lot of external pressure of expectation from your audience that you've built over the years. And what happens is you start to build this internal pressure, which is not great for your mental health, based on this external pressure of expectations by this audience you've created and put in the box. Now, anytime you want to pivot away from your niche content, you start to see the numbers reflect because the audience you've built have a certain interest in your channel. And that's especially dangerous when your content is your livelihood. Now, there are a few exceptions of people pivoting from a certain niche they got popular into, like Ninja, for instance. But Ninja's the exception. Ninja is so large. Once you get that much of a following, you can pivot into other things and still be okay. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some positive aspects to niching your content. Like for instance, you're gonna get faster growth, you're gonna get faster loyalty in your fan base. And that's just because you've targeted your market, and those are the people that are gonna see your content. And not to mention, the algorithms of all your platforms are gonna pick up on that and show your content to that specific user that wants to see it, which is great for you. So since you have that target audience, you also become a little more marketable for brands, or like I said, the algorithms. So if I were to have a channel based around cars, I would probably get more sponsorship and brand deals based around products that have to do with cars, if that makes sense. And the last great point I can make about niching is that there's less competition. There's less people you have to compete with, but your competition becomes a little more competitive. In my personal experience, I've had 2 or 3 small ventures that I've tried niching in. My very first one was my Twitch stream, And for a while I did Counter-Strike. I was a big Counter-Strike streamer. I made hundreds of YouTube videos that are actually on this channel. I just actually have them unlisted and you're never gonna see them. Maybe you will. Hold on, I got this. I got this! I got that! But I was pretty much the Counter-Strike guy for 2 to 3 years. I had a pretty good audience. I was averaging about 20 people on Twitch. On YouTube, I was getting around 100 to 200 views on my videos, and I was Counter-Strike. And after a while, I started just getting tired of Counter-Strike. I didn't want to play it anymore. I was burned out. I was done. I just wanted to just stop playing because I wasn't enjoying myself. And I think that really reflected on my live streams too, because at one point I was pretty miserable. And what happened when I tried to move off of Counter-Strike to something new, I saw my views plummet. Like, absolutely nobody was there except my mods, and that was it. And as a growing creator, somebody trying to gain some traction, that's really, really discouraging. Because if I felt like I didn't play Counter-Strike, I wasn't going anywhere. And if I played something else, I was happier, but I wasn't going anywhere. So I felt stuck, and it really just kind of ate me alive as a creator. I also had pretty much the same experience when I used to run my gaming org, Frost. After a while, we became an Overwatch-based organization, and we just did Overwatch, but honestly, I didn't like Overwatch really that much. So I'm like, okay, let's pivot. And the community collapsed, the entire org collapsed, everything that I built for like 2 years collapsed. And that's all because I pivoted off of Overwatch. The sole fan base and community that we built over the years. And those are just a few examples of my experience in niching content. So off of that, further explaining why I pumped the brakes a little bit on the channel is because I started to realize I was just niching again into what I wanted to do was photography. And with this pandemic and everything going on, that really limits my ability to go out and do photography. So I started to realize that I started putting myself into a box once again. So using myself as an example, I like photography, I like finance, I like philosophy, like self-help lifestyle type things. And that's probably the direction I'm going to send this channel into. And it's kind of all over the place, but that's kind of my point. If you do what makes you, what encompasses your interests and everything in between, that was my phone, you then start marketing yourself as yourself, and you're not pigeonholing yourself into a certain niche. And because of this, yes, growth won't be as fast, but at least I get to maintain my creative integrity to move forward and do what I like to do, because then I'm setting up a wider expectation of what content I create. You tell the world that, hey, I'm into this thing, but I'm also into these other things. And like I said, growth's gonna be slower, your loyalty's going to come slower. But in the long run, I want to argue that it's a little more sustainable. And when we're faced with uncertain times like these, it's not so outlandish to your audience to pivot to something else, because they already expect you to do whatever you want to do. Listen, if you are truly and extremely passionate about something, don't take my words as discouragement. Go do that thing and niche into that thing. It's worked out for hundreds of thousands of people, probably millions. But I wanted to make this video for those of you that are kind of on the fence and not really sure how you want to move forward with your image as a creator, and hopefully I helped you make up your mind. Also, hopefully I saved you a lot of headache. Like I said, moving forward with this channel, it might be all over the place, but that's kind of who I am and how my brain works. By the way, if you have a different opinion from anything I said in this video, that's okay. You are allowed to have that. So that's gonna be it for today's video. Drop a like, subscribe, comment, kiss your grandma, do all those nice things today. You guys have a good day. Stay safe.